In part 3 of the Media Thumbnail Viewer, we're going to be adding MediaStore support to the RecyclerView.Adapter. Welcome to Mobile Application Tutorials. My name's Nigel. Okay, so we're going to finish off the RecyclerView.Adapter here by just putting in the MediaStore support into the adapter. We're going to have to set up a cursor that's going to represent the values in the MediaStore, and this is also going to be able to enable us to generate thumbnails from that MediaStore as well with the APIs that are provided to us. Okay, so we'll make a start. So we're continuing on with the RecyclerView MediaStore adapter. So first thing I want to do is to create a cursor. This cursor is going to be passed to us from our activity using the cursor loaders. So that will get passed to the adapter when applications first started up, or if additional images or the data changes within the MediaStore. Okay, so we're going to add a member here. It's going to be a cursor. And I'll just call it member MediaStore Cursor. Okay, the first method I'm going to create here is a method where if the cursor loader calls down to adapter with change data, we're going to change the cursor. So I'm just going to make this private. It's going to return a cursor, and we'll call it swap cursor. It's going to take an argument, that's a cursor. Okay, the first thing we want to do is to see if this cursor is the same as the previous cursor, which we're calling MediaStore Cursor. So do a check there. So if MediaStore Cursor is the same as this cursor, we can return null because nothing's changed. And just keep it as it is. Okay, if that condition is not met, what we're going to do is create a member inside this method called old cursor, where we just assign the current cursor to this cursor member. So create a cursor member. Let's call it old cursor, and assign it with the value of MediaStore Cursor. Now we can assign the MediaStore Cursor with the new cursor value, or the new cursor. Now let's do a check here to see if this is a valid cursor. We want to call our adapter to refresh the data. In other words, if there's more images there, add those images to the layout. So let's do a check on cursor. So if it's not equal to null, we'll call this, and we're going to notify that the data set's changed so we can update the data. And finally, we're going to return the old cursor. Okay, now we're going to call a method which is going to be available to our activity for when we want to change the cursor. So we're going to make this public. We can keep this void, and we'll call this change cursor. And it's going to take cursor as an argument. Okay, first of all, we want to get the old cursor from our swap cursor method. Call it old cursor. And call swap cursor, passing in the new cursor value. Now we'll do a check on that. So if the old cursor is not equal to null, so we've swapped the cursors, we want to set the old cursor, we want to close it, basically is what we're doing here. So if it's not equal to null, call the old cursor and close it. Okay, so we've got the handling of passing the cursor down to our adapter and swapping the cursor and cleaning up the old cursor. That's all done now. Right, we're going to add a new method here for where we can get and generate thumbnails from the MediaStore videos and images that we're interested in. So we'll create a new method here. I'll make that private. And that's going to return a bitmap. And we can just call get bitmap from MediaStore. And it's going to take an argument that's passed down to us, which is going to be the position. We'll see that later on. Position. Okay, so we're going to get down and dirty into the MediaStore. Basically, the cursor that we're going to have passed down to us is going to hold values. One of those values is going to be an ID that actually represents either the video or the image that we're interested in, and another ID is going to represent whether or not it's a video or a image. We'll have to call slightly different commands to generate thumbnails, whether or not it's a video or an image. Okay, so we'll get these index IDs first. They're ints. I'll call the first one ID index, and we'll call our cursor, which will have been set up, and get column index. Now we need to call the MediaStore files, file columns, and this one's going to be ID. So it's an ID representing the actual video or the image. We're going to have to do basically something very similar for the media. I'm going to call it media type index. And let's get column and MediaStore files, file columns. In this case, it's going to be the media type. Okay, so our cursor could contain a number of, hopefully it's going to contain numbers of videos and images represented by IDs. So we'll have the position passed to us from the Recycler view to get to the correct row which contains the information we require. So first of all, we can call MediaStore, move to position and pass the position. So right, we're now pointing at the right, think of it as a database row, for example, that contains all the data we want. So we're now inside the right location inside the cursor. So what I'm going to do here now is set up a switch statement to either handle whether or not the ID we're looking at is a video or an image. So I call the switch. And basically we want to check whether it's a video or an image. So from here, I can call our cursor again, and it's going to be a get int, and I'm going to pass the media type index. Okay, and just let me handle the default situation first, which is just return null. Okay, the first case, we'll just make it for an image. So what we're going to do is check here is media. And it will be files again, file columns, and we're going to check for the media type of image. If it is an image, we can return the bitmap provided to us from the MediaStore for a media type of image. So we can call return. So call to the MediaStore. This is going to be images, thumbnails, and we're provided with this get thumbnail method. Okay, now the first argument it's going to be the content resolver, and that's only available from the activity. So we're going to pass it from the activity through to our adapter, and we'll do that in a constructor. So first thing I will do here is create a new member here to represent the activity. It's going to be activity to get our content resolver, and I'll just call it M member activity. Okay, now we'll pass this down when we create the adapter, so we'll do it in the constructor. And I'm just going to select our activity, and that's now done for us. So returning back down to here, where we create our get thumbnail, we can now call the member activity and get our content resolver. Okay, the next part here is the actual ID that represents the image. So we can get that from our cursor. Let's call get long on this and pass in our ID index. Now we've got a couple of default sizes we want to use. I'm going to use what's called the microkind size, which is the smallest size of thumbnail. And just set the last argument as null. Okay, so that code's now in place for generating a thumbnail, getting a thumbnail from the MediaStore for images. We're going to have to do the same for video. So what I'm going to do here is just copy this method and just change a few items in there. Okay, and no, we won't. That's better. Okay, so first thing I want to look for here is for the media type of video. Okay, so checking for video this time. Now we need to go down here and change images to video to get the thumbnails from video. Let's carry on down here. Content resolves okay. The MediaStore get long index ID will be fine for that. Now we want the MediaStore video thumbnail images. Okay, that's now completed. So we've now got a method of generating and getting bitmaps from the MediaStore, either for the video or for the images. So that piece of code there is done there now. So let's complete that part. So if we go back up to from the last tutorial, we've got on-bind view holder. So it's in here, we can pass the bitmap to the image view. So first of all, I'm going to create a local bitmap member. And now we can call our get bitmap from MediaStore and pass in the position. Now we want just a quick check here if bitmap is not equal to null. We can now, we've got the holder that represents our image view, so we can call the holder. Now we can get our image view, and once we've got the image view, we can set the image bitmap and pass in the bitmap from the MediaStore. Okay, now just one more thing just to complete the implementation of the RecyclerView.Adapter. We've got the item count here, we haven't yet touched that. I just need to expand that. So we'll just complete that with the actual values of items in the adapter that we expect. So we can return. I'm just going to put a condition in here in case we've got data in the cursor or not. So if MediaStore Cursor, let's say equals null, do a conditional check on it. If null is true, we can return 0, or else the actual size of the MediaStore cursor itself, which we can get to that from a getCount method. So we'll do a quick check for any red horizontal lines. I don't see any, but I am colorblind anyway. Okay, so that should be our adapter now complete. All it's waiting for is a cursor, and that gets provided to us from the cursor loaders in the activity itself. So we'll work on the cursor loaders in the following tutorial to this one. So if you want to get notified of any further episodes to this tutorial series or any of the other video tutorials, Android tutorials that I'm currently working on, don't forget to click on that subscribe button down below. And surrounding me is to my right, we have all my social media accounts there. Good place to just get updated of any sort of changes or news that I'm working on. Whenever I upload code to GitHub, whenever I publish an article, whenever I update a new video, that all gets published on the social media accounts. Directly above me is a link to my website, probably the best place to watch these videos, because not only do you get the video, you get information from where to get the code from GitHub, and you also get this code descriptions listed down below. So it's a good place to view an article against the video. And if you've got any questions for me at all that aren't directly related to this video, to my left is a link to CodeMentor. So this will get you some of my time to help you with either training or questions or anything else that you may have. Anyway, that's it for this one. Bye for now.